Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. I'm being joined by Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter. What's going on, Beeb?
What's up, man? How's everyone doing?
Everything is going great. Real quick, before we get started, tell everybody where they can find you here on YouTube.
You can find me on my YouTube channel at Ringside Reporter Live. We go live every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We do a podcast weekly. We recap the fights, we preview next week's fights, and we go over the latest boxing news, rumors, and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys subscribe to Ringside Reporter. All right. And on Sundays, they got that big show. Beeb just got off of that show. He's doing overtime. This is OT. All right now. Yeah, absolutely, man. We have a big fight coming up, Beeb. We got Luis Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder will be defending his WBC World Heavyweight Championship against someone who he's already defeated. But as we know, Ortiz is known as the guy that had Wilder hurt, almost had him out, but not close enough, and ended up getting knocked out in that fight. The rematch is coming. Before I ask you about the actual fight, are you excited about this fight?
I'll be honest, I'm not overly excited about the fight. I think it's going to be one-sided. I saw the first fight, and I think this one's going to end even quicker, in my opinion.
All right, so you're anticipating a much faster fight, easier fight for Deontay Wilder?
100%, yes.
That is very interesting, fascinating even. Going into this fight, however, as a gambler, right? If someone wants to gamble on this fight, I mean, if we look at the odds, the odds I'm looking at anyway, Wilder is a minus 650. Okay. And I believe it's 650 is via knockout even, or just him winning in general. But I don't, even though you feel this is going to be an easy fight for Wilder, those aren't, in my opinion, those are not good odds. I mean, would you bet on Wilder for this fight?
No, the odds are just too wide.
Yeah, the odds are just too wide. And what about, though, Luis Ortiz at a plus 425? Bet 100, win $425. To me, those are very good odds, in my opinion. You say what to those odds?
Well, if you really like Ortiz, you think he has a shot. But just keep in mind one thing. If the fight goes the distance, it's highly unlikely Ortiz would even get the decision, because in a fight that I thought he was winning before he got stopped last fight, he was actually up on the scorecards. And we've seen other fights, like when Wilder fought Gerald Washington, for instance, when he fought Spilka, those were fights where he looked like he was clearly behind, but each and every time the judges had him up. So you got a lot of things working against you here if you're going to pick Ortiz here. So he would have to win by knockout. And he hurt Wilder badly in the 7th round, as badly as Wilder's ever been hurt. And Wilder looked like he was almost out there. He looked like he was going to go out, and he couldn't get the job done. This is, in my opinion, this will be a better version of Deontay Wilder going into the rematch, and probably a worse version of Luis Ortiz. So that's why I'm saying I think the fight's going to end quicker.
So the way you see it is the best case scenario for Ortiz already happened. Like when he hurt Wilder, and that was, if there was a time for him to beat Wilder, that was it right there.
Yeah, lightning usually doesn't strike twice.
Usually doesn't. The D-Style projections here for my channel, I have Wilder at a 74% chance of winning this fight. That's what I'm projecting here. So more than likely, pretty solidly, I have him as likely to win this fight. Wilder, as we know, is 41-0 with just that one draw, 40 knockouts in those 41 wins. Luis Ortiz, 31 with one loss. We know that loss did come to Wilder with the 26 knockouts. Wilder is 6'7", 83-inch reach. Luis Ortiz, 6'4", with 78-inch reach. The Bronze Bomber will be going head-to-head against King Kong here. Right now, all right, Wilder stands at 95.24% KO ratio. By the sounds of it, you believe he's going to have even a better KO ratio after this fight because he's going to knock out Ortiz.
I believe so, yes.
All right. If there's a path to victory, I know you're saying it's not likely, but what percentage chance does Joe Habib give to Luis Ortiz to win this fight?
I think Deontay Wilder is an 85% chance winner here, and I would give Luis Ortiz probably a 15% chance.
So at 15% chance, are you basing that out of on it's a heavyweight division, anything could happen? Well, what exactly you're basing that out of? Like what circumstance can you envision Ortiz winning this fight?
If Wilder gets a little bit overconfident and Ortiz does catch him with something, and if he is able to finish him, that's not impossible. What is highly unlikely though is Ortiz getting a decision in this fight.
You do not foresee Luis Ortiz getting a decision in this fight. What if he just outboxes Wilder for 12 rounds? You don't think the judges will give him the fight? You think there's
Well, we saw what happened not only in the first fight, but we also saw Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is the slickest boxer, in my opinion, in the heavyweight division.
right?
And Luis Ortiz is pretty slick himself. So the problem we also have here is Deontay Wilder usually knocks his opponent down at least once every fight. And a lot of times he knocks him down 2 or 3 times. So if Deontay Wilder gets a couple knockdowns here, even if the fight does go the distance, he'll have some 2 point rounds in the bank, I think.
Right.
And that will help him ensure the victory, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. He does, have that ability to knock somebody down. That does, of course, help you on the scorecards. Um,
He knocked Ortiz down twice the last fight.
yeah, the power's real. I mean, look, there's no doubt about it. This guy's more than likely going to knock you down at least once. You know what I mean?
He always finds a way to land that right hand against everybody. He landed it against the slickest fighter in the world,
Yeah,
against Tyson Fury.
he landed it. He knocked him down twice.
Yeah,
I mean,
he knocked Fury down twice too.
in the 12th, when you're supposed to like that, he still had enough power to knock him down in the 12th round.
I think in every single one of his fights, if I'm not mistaken, he's knocked all his opponents down.
Did he knock down Stavern in that first fight?
Yeah,
He did.
he did knock him down, but they ruled it a slip. But it was a clear knockdown.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay, but I mean, I get point taken.
So technically, no.
Yeah. Here, I'll say this to people saying, "Look, I know that he knocked out, Ortiz because he has the power, but Ortiz is a better technical boxer. The Cuban school of boxing, and he's gonna, if he just stays patient, with the right game plan, he can just outbox Wilder to a 12-round decision." Your answer to that would be what?
Like I said, it's going to be highly unlikely. And I think Ortiz has really significantly lost a step too. He didn't look great in his last couple fights. He's been getting hit a lot.
Right.
So again, I mean, could he pull off the fight of the century? Is it impossible? No, it's not. I mean, he definitely is a good boxer. He's very slick. He has shown good defensive abilities, good footwork. He's pretty good with the upper body movement, moves his head a lot, very well. But again, those reflexes have dulled a bit. So those punches that used to, he used to see coming, and he can make his opponent miss by inches and counter. I don't think he still has that ability to do that anymore. And he certainly didn't have it in his last couple of fights because he was getting hit a lot more against lesser opponents than he's ever got hit before. He just does not look the same.
Well, I do agree with you that more than likely Wilder will win this fight. I'm giving Ortiz a slightly better chance, but it's still not much of a chance. I think more than likely Wilder wins this fight. Getting past this fight here, obviously in December we have Ruiz versus Joshua. Okay.
Yeah.
How much stock do you put in the whole Ruiz is losing a lot of weight? Like, the pictures that have been put out, and I don't know if he's losing that much weight because in the videos he doesn't look that skinny. So, but do you think it's a good game plan for him to lose weight? And if so, how much weight?
Well, he's saying he's going to be about 6 or 7 pounds lighter, which is not a lot of weight.
No.
Joshua, Joshua, on the other hand, looks like he lost about 15 pounds. Now, here's the problem with that. Ruiz had some weight to lose. We can agree with that. When you
Right.
have when you have a lot of extra baggage on you, let's be blunt. He had carrying a lot of body fat.
Yep.
So more than likely he lost mostly body fat, right? But when you're a guy who's already not carrying a lot of body fat in Anthony Joshua, and you're trying to lose weight, you're going to be losing a lot of muscle. Will you lose some fat? Yeah, but you didn't have much excess body fat to begin with. So it's better for Luis to lose that 6 or 7 pounds, or possibly even 10 pounds. But I like the fact that he's like losing 6 or 7. That way, it won't put too much of a shock on his system. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he'll still have the power or whatever. But Anthony Joshua, his game is power. His game is fast twitch. And if you take that away from him, he's not going to outbox Andy Ruiz. I don't think he has more boxing ability than Andy Ruiz. I don't think he's a better skilled boxer. I don't think he puts the shots together as well as Andy Ruiz. And I just don't think he has the timing, and I don't think he places his shots as well. I just don't think he can fight as well as Andy Ruiz. I don't think he has the skill set. I don't think he has the versatility. I don't think he has the tools in the toolbox like Andy Ruiz has. So his game is power. So if you take that away from him, then you're putting him in a compromised position, or he's putting himself in a compromised position, a weakened state, if you will, by losing all that weight. Look what Roy Jones moved up to heavyweight, and then when he came back down to light heavyweight, look at the effect. Look at the effect it had on his body, because when he went up to heavyweight, he was like 193 pounds when he fought Johnny Ruiz, and it was pretty solid. And then when he went down to 175, you could tell that his body looked flat. It looked deflated. And right then and then you could say to yourself, and you could tell that he lost a lot of muscle mass, which is not a good thing.
Well, there's also a concern that, I mean, I remember watching him training like right after the fight. So I mean, he could be overtraining for this fight. No.
He started camp way too early, Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he has been overtraining, and then now there's been talk about him possibly retiring after this fight, win, lose, or draw.
Wow.
So
where did that talk come from? What happened there? That's the first time I heard.
Well, they wrote an article about it today, and Eddie Hearn, I guess, put it out there in an interview that he may pack it in, win, lose, or draw after this fight.
You think that's to sell the fight? You think that's to get people out to see it or something? Or it might be the last time we see him fight. I don't know.
That could be a selling point, but I got to be honest with you. He just does not sound like a guy who really is in it anymore. Who doesn't sound like that hungry guy anymore. He talks on. I said this before on my podcast. I don't think he likes to lose. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But he doesn't hate to lose, if that makes sense.
Right, like he's not a Marquez that was like,
He just I mean, it's okay to be a good sport. Don't get me wrong.
Right, but you gotta hate it,
But you have to have that competitive fire in your belly, where you know what, you hate to lose. He's overly accepting, I should say, excuse me, of losing. He's too happy. Like after he lost that fight against Ruiz, he was just smiling a little bit too much for me. I like a guy who hates to lose. Like Andre Ward is a competitor. He hated to lose.
Right.
Michael Jordan hated to lose. Like all the great athletes of their day, the first thing that would tell you is, I hate to lose.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua does not hate to lose. So he's already accepted defeat all too comfortably. He's very receptive of defeat. So right then and there, that shows me a weak spot. That shows me a weak spot.
Definitely. Shout out to Alex C, by the way, for that super chat. It says, thank you all, Hammy and Wilder versus Ortiz for the PBC belts. I'm going to get there, but I wanted to say this. So regarding that fight, I do believe Ruiz is going to win that fight, but do you have any reservations whatsoever about this fight being in Saudi Arabia and maybe Ortiz? I mean, it seems like Ruiz perhaps is celebrating a little too much here. He's still doing interviews. When is he gonna like? Maybe it's just a facade. Maybe he is trained 100%. But I just feel a little bit of a Douglas effect here, man. I don't know. Like,
I don't see it.
no,
I don't see it because he's still training hard. The weight is coming off. He looks in shape. He sounds motivated. He seems like
right.
he's in a good place mentally. He seems very confident. When the fight was first announced, I believe I did tell you that I was concerned about that, the Buster
Yeah.
Douglas effect. That was the biggest concern I had for Ruiz going into the rematch.
Well, because like like right before Halloween, he's eating tacos. Telling him how good these tacos are. I'm just saying, there's some videos out there that makes me kind of like, what are you doing, Andy? I'm just saying.
But here's the problem with all that.
Yeah.
It's all about calories in, calories out. I'm sure he's eating enough of the right stuff, and I mean I don't think a taco is gonna kill him. Now
Right.
if he's going to a buffet and he's wiping a buffet out, then that's a concern.
Right. Right.
How many calories does a taco have? Honestly, about about 300 or 400 calories.
Right. Right.
Is a taco really a junk food too? It's got some protein in it. Corn tortilla is a good sense of good
Well,
source. Good
okay.
source. Good source
And
of. Come on, you're Mexican. You know these things.
in fairness, I didn't know what type of taco. It could have been a fish taco. Who knows, right? But at the end of the day, it was a big plate of tacos, though. That's like, and then he was eating pizza a little bit. Like I don't know if it's just him putting on that character, though. Like I'll tell you what, B. Before the first fight, he had me fooled. Okay, like he had me thinking like like this guy's just happy to be here. You know what I mean? And then the bell rang, and he comes down. He's like, "I'm serious business here." Okay, so is this just a caricature he's putting out there? Like, is he doing the video with a plate of taco, but he only ate one? You know what I mean? I don't know, but
I only saw him eating one.
I
I can't guarantee that he ate. I don't think he ate 10.
yeah, I hope not. But I don't know. But I could tell you what, though, I do know that when that bell rings, that guy wants to hurt somebody. Okay,
Yeah.
and do you think the Saudi Arabia? Do you have any concerns about any ref activity? And
I did in the beginning, but now from what I've been hearing, and again, this is what I've been hearing. I could be wrong, but I heard they're going to bring in some neutral officials, I think, and a neutral referee. I don't think there's going to be any UK judges or any UK referees. So
yeah, to answer somebody, I mean, somebody asked how much resistance does Ruiz lose with a lot. I'm guessing punch resistance. I don't think losing 8 pounds is going to make him lose any of that. If anything, he might get a little faster. If anything,
he's gonna
right?
he may be in better shape, and a lot of resistance, punch resistance, comes down to conditioning. When you get hit, when you when you get hit, how your body recovers, how your body can utilize the oxygen back to the brain from after you're getting hit in the head, is a big part of recovery. Look at Mickey Ward. Mickey Ward was a guy who was in phenomenal shape. I used to see Mickey Ward train. He used to come to the Somerville Boxing Club every once in a while. And this guy would do 5-minute rounds. He would have no rest in between rounds, and he would just keep going. So if Ruiz comes in better conditioned, I think his punch resistance will go up.
I don't know what you mean. Well, shout out to Nelson Santos says Beeb defending Taco Nutrition. Gordon Wright says you guys missing the bigger picture here. London, where AJ grew up, is polluted air. I don't know what he means. Do you know what he means, Beeb?
London, where age grew up, is polluted air, etc. Metals in the air affect metals in the air in London affects brain. Released from rural area.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's like a thing. That
I can't speak to that. I know nothing about the air quality in London.
Plus, I mean, isn't Ruiz around the LA area? I don't know, man. I don't know if LA is like the, with all those cars over there. I don't know if that's like the capital of clean air or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
we're all breathing in shit now because of the freaking
yeah,
because of all this industrial shit that's going on in the world today.
definitely. Shout out to everybody. By the way, make sure you throw a jab at that like button. Beeb, with the last 10 minutes we have here, I think we both agree that Wilder and Ruiz are going to win, right? So
Yes.
okay.
I think Ruiz is going to win, and I think Wilder's going to win.
Now, of course, anything could happen, but assuming that's the path forward, if they both win, do you believe Wilder Ruiz is likely next year?
Well, I think it's very, very highly likely. And I said this: I don't think Tyson Fury's going to fight Wilder in February. I just don't see it happening. He's got all this other stuff going on right now, um, and the cut may not be fully healed. And you say to yourself, well, why is he doing all this other stuff? Well, I mean, the other stuff he's doing does not compare to being in the ring in a boxing match, getting punched in the face. I don't think that cut is ready to be hit upon
Yeah.
right now. I think that cut to get to be ready for serious contact, I think it needs a lot more time to be healed. So I don't think that fight happens next. So I think a fight with Ruiz or even Joshua for Wilder is likely.
Right. I still don't know what your point is, Gordon. Right? I apologize, but if you could tell me what the point is, are you saying that affects stamina? Because McGregor doesn't have the best stamina. Like, you know what I mean? So I just want to make sure we,
Well,
you know.
well, Joshua is a fast twitch muscle fiber guy. He's not a slow twitch. So that a lot of reasons why Joshua just doesn't have the stamina is because it's genetic. Some guys are
Yeah.
sprinters. Some guys are marathon runners. The beautiful thing about Deontay Wilder is he's both. He's got those long swimmer type muscles. He's built. He they are. He reminds me of a 6'7" version of Tommy Hearns with that right hand.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy Hearns was a long, lanky guy who was in pretty good shape himself. Could go around, but he also could use that right hand as the eraser. So
Yes.
Deontay Wilder is fortunate enough where he's got an abundance of both.
Yeah.
Whereas Joshua is all fast twitch.
Yeah. That's it.
That's why That's why he fades.
Yeah. Well, look, if that fight happens, who do you favor? Ruiz, Wilder.
Wilder, I think it's a bad style matchup for Ruiz.
That's how much from. Okay.
Yeah,
Distance, knockout,
I think Wilder knocks him out.
knocks him out. Okay.
Yeah,
Man, just like that. Mid round, early,
eighth round,
eighth
ninth round,
round.
eighth,
Okay.
ninth round. Yeah,
Final question. Would that be for the PBC belt? The PBC belt.
I sure hope not. That's all I can say. I sure hope not. Will I know for sure?
Yeah.
Probably not, but I suspect no. It won't be for the PBC belt. There's going to be enough belts on the line that night where they don't need to throw another
I
one in
think
there.
this Fox executive, I don't think understands boxing that much. If he believes that, like maybe if we give him the benefit of the doubt, he believes this is a good idea. That we're gonna do this, guys. Let's just have one belt, the PBC belt, and everyone fights for that belt. Maybe in his head that makes total sense, and maybe he has good intentions behind that. If we give him the benefit of the doubt, but that is such a horrible idea.
But did
I
he
mean,
but did he insinuate or indicate that they were not going to recognize any of the other belts and they would just recognize the PBC belt, or did he?
well, he did say that the ultimate this is what the ultimate goal is.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So if you do that, in my opinion, that is an insinuation.
yeah,
You know,
okay.
you know what I mean? Like I think that's what it is.
That's
Um,
that's ridiculous.
right.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Shout out to Stay Suda. He originally from El Centro, which is an hour from San East of Diego. I believe you're talking about Ruiz. Nelson Santos says, "Have you seen Deontay Wilder inside game? I'm curious to see what Deontay does if Andy can successfully and consistently get on the inside. I think that's what would make it an interesting fight,
Yeah,
personally. You know what I mean? But we will see.
yeah.
But I will say though." If you right did not have the knowledge you have as a boxing fan today, right, and Beeb was the head of Fox Sports, do you get where I'm getting at? Like it might sound like a great idea, like yeah, let's just have one belt, like uh,
Well,
it might. Yeah,
here's the thing. You make an excellent point, and I don't want to be overly assuming here, but I think I know
right.
where you're going with that. This is a great selling point for a casual fan that's going to flip through the channels and end up watching a fight
Yeah.
on Fox one day. Is that where you're going with it?
Well, that and but it would, because I believe even this dude believes it's a good idea. I think he genuinely believes. Well, we just have one champion that settles it. Let's just have the PBC. This guy literally said in that interview they have 99% of the talent, which is not even close to true. That's not remotely.
Yeah, the problem with this whole situation is it seems like PBC's overplaying their hand a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, we can possibly agree on one thing: PBC does have most of the fighters. There's no question about that. But does that mean that they have all of the best fighters? No, they don't have Terrence Crawford. They don't
Lomachenko.
have Lomachenko. They don't have Canelo Alvarez.
What if Royce loses his fight?
They don't have Gennady Golovkin. They don't have a lot. Like, they don't have Callum Smith. There's a lot of missing pieces
Yeah,
to the
but
puzzle.
like they have most of the welterweights, 154 pounders,
168.
168, but that's it.
But arguably, Callum Smith could be considered the best in a lot of people's opinion.
At 168.
Yeah,
I mean, you could argue. I don't think he is, but he could argue it.
I
I mean,
think David Benavidez is, in my opinion, that's my guy. But
no,
there's a lot of people that think Callum Smith is.
no.
I think Ring Magazine has him number one, if I'm not mistaken, at 168.
I just don't understand how this would work, because what's next? Is ESPN going to have their champion now? Because like I heard in the show, and you reminded me of how they used to have a champion, right? Which
Yeah.
which is, but I don't think it
What?
wasn't meant as a like what they're trying to do.
No, they used to have tournaments, and they
Yeah,
have the ESPN belt was like a just like they had the Boxino belt. Remember they had the
yeah,
Boxino
yeah,
tournament? It's the same idea as that. It wasn't like they were gonna rank people and they were gonna have mandatory defenses and stuff like that. It was basically a belt that they gave to the winner of their tournaments that they used to have. That's all it was.
yeah, definitely. Buddy Ace, I'm going to address this one last question here. Shout out to AJ10 saying you cannot monopolize boxing. Let's see. He has an ace in his hand. Let's see what type of ace this is. Okay. Let's see what this dude has in his hand. I question Wilder for this reason. Ortiz has had dirty tests in the past, but Wilder's fighting him. Twice, Povetkin had traces of a substance that had added prior to their bout. So basically, he's insinuating why is he fighting Ortiz, but he didn't fight Povetkin, Beeb.
Well, because Ortiz is part of the PBC stable. He's part of the family.
It's easier to make the fight.
It's easy to forgive your family members. Let me ask you a question. If your brother called you an asshole, you'd probably get mad at him, but you'd still talk to him and forgive him afterwards, right? But if a total stranger called you an asshole, you'd probably punch him in the face, right? Or
Yeah,
you'd want to, or you'd probably never talk to the guy again. So
I hear that. You know,
he's part of the PBC family.
yeah. Plus, I mean, I'm not. I know I said last question, but what is it about this day and age, Beeb, where more than ever, whataboutisms are like more apparent, right? Like you
Well,
mentioned some. Oh, well, what about this guy? Well, what about that guy? Well, what about when this happened? What about when that? Well, what are you
when
what do you
that
attribute that to?
when that's your first line of defense, that's a problem. Now, have I said it? Have I used whataboutisms, and do I still use whataboutisms? I do when I try to point out hypocrisy, but it's not like my opening attack. That's not my opening defense. I try to at least talk about the topic at hand instead of trying to change the subject. But if I'm going to point out hypocrisy in somebody's position, then I tend to do that occasionally. But these guys do it obsessively. They do it prolifically. They just continue to do it. Like, no matter what type of debate you're having, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, what about? What about this? What about that? They don't even attempt
Or sometimes the whatabouts are just completely random. You know what I mean?
well, that's what I'm getting at. Like they just changed the subject completely, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Like it's just,
Right.
I just think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because I forgot who the caller was on your show last week, and you guys were talking. I believe you were talking about Tank Davis, and the guy started bringing up, well, what about Tyson Fury? Well, what about like, who's bringing up guys that had nothing to do with the division,
Yeah.
with the
Well,
situation?
that's when you run out of things to say. What's the easiest thing to do?
Yeah,
Change the subject, right?
I agree.
That's
Sh-
that's that's what people do.
Absolutely. Shout out to Scrapbook Boxing, Joe B. Do you have any final thoughts before we let you go?
Well, we had a slow week, and I know the holidays are coming up, and we have the Wilder fight, and I think we have the Tony Harrison fight 2 weeks after that. But well, then we have the Joshua fight too. So every now and then we get a little bit of a lull, but overall we've been getting a lot of good fights, and I think the Zone has really picked up the schedule. They have some good stuff on the schedule. I think they came on strong in the second half of the year. I was a little bit concerned the first half of the year what they were giving us, but they came on strong in the second half of the year. So I think we have a good schedule ahead of us overall, and I'm just going to be looking forward to the new year. And I hope that we can boxing can get its shit together. We had a pretty good year all around. I would say collectively with PBC, the Zone, and even ESPN Plus gave us a few good ones. But let's hope we can all get these fights that we want to see. Let's hope the heavyweight division gets unified, and let's hope Canelo does some big things as well. Let's hope that he can settle into a division and unify a division and kind of relax there instead of going up and down, up and down, up and down. But hey, I'm looking forward to the schedule that lies ahead, and I just hope that we can keep it going next year.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be. We still have some, fights coming up. I want to thank you again for everybody for tuning in, and for Joe Habib for stopping by.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Definitely. Make sure you guys check me out tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Aftermath. I'm out. Peace.
Good night, everybody.